Well, most teams, if not all teams, will never go undefeated in a season, and San Diego FC just lost their first game. But Arsenal Invincibles, anybody? Nah, most teams won't ever go undefeated in a regular season. It was a game San Diego FC actually deserved to lose, and the first time they looked like an expansion team and looked like they were kind of a little bit everywhere on the pitch. So San Diego FC finally got. They were barely any good things to talk about in the first half, and most of the second half was the same up until about the last 15 to 20 minutes. But it was a little too late in the game to make the comeback. But how did it all happen? What is something we need to worry about? And I've been worried about for quite a while, and I've mentioned in a couple of my past episodes. Let's get into all that on the Penalty Kick Podcast. I'm the host, Mike Gio, and let's start with the game recap. Austin FC came out swinging. For a team that has only produced 2 regular season goals in 4 games, they doubled that total with their win against San Diego. To be honest, it could have been a lot more than 2 goals for Austin FC, but they didn't put a couple or a few of their chances away. CJ Dos Santos had an amazing stave on the near post, but it started right away. In the first, I think it was 30 seconds, they already had a shot on goal, and it just started bad. And then in the 10th minute, Valakari turned it over in the middle of the pitch, and Austin FC only made one pass right down the middle because our center backs were spread a little bit too far apart, and the runner just ran straight down the middle. Now it was a one-on-one with CJ Dos Santos, our goalkeeper, and then the attacker went right around CJ Dos Santos for an open goal, slots it away, 1-0. We're down in the 10th minute. And you would think this would kind of like wake up our team. It would invigorate us, put some energy in us to try to attack them, to play with intensity, to hustle a little bit more. But you just really saw balls over the top and runners in behind or a quick counter, and then it's one-on-one with our goalkeeper, right? That was the beginning of the game. That was our first half. And guess what? We committed a foul while our players were really, really high up the pitch. Our players were complaining to the ref and asking why it was a foul. And while they were doing that, Austin FC took a quick free kick as a player for Austin FC runs free down the wing as one of our players are chasing him, but they're 2-3 yards behind. So off the quick free kick, off an easy pass, it was one-on-one with the goalkeeper again. And guess what? The Austin FC puts the ball back in the back of the net. 2-0 in the 19th minute. Luckily, we did claw a goal back almost 7 minutes. Yeah, 7 minutes after, because in the 26th minute, there was some good passing at the top of the box. Luca De La Torre gets the ball, shoots from outside the box. The ball was deflected, leaving the keeper kind of wrong-footed as the keeper went one way, the ball went the other, and then the ball kind of slides in the bottom left corner of the net. San Diego 1, Austin FC 2. But this probably would not have been a goal without the deflection. So we had a little bit of luck, but sometimes you need some luck. And hey, we're back in the game, right? Not really, because the rest of the half was pretty much all Austin FC as far as creating clear-cut chances. And even most of the second half was Austin FC creating clear-cut chances. Easy runs in behind, balls over the top, one-on-one with the keeper. This had to be the worst defense we have played all year. And so it was very troubling. And up until, again, the last 15 minutes, we started pressuring. We started creating more of the chances. But why only the last 15, 20 minutes of the game? We had 76% possession this game, and we obviously could not do anything with it. We were kind of more so passing side to side than really attacking, creating creative plays to open up people to get clear-cut shots. And, in the last 15 minutes, we did have a couple clear-cut shots. Trier had a couple chances that he couldn't quite put away, whether it was wide or whether it was, a shot going over the crossbar. We also hit the post, so that was kind of a little bit unlucky. But you can't show up that late to a game. And I think, except for the Luca De La Torre goal, which was a little bit of luck, we only were really in this game for the final 15, 20 minutes. You can't show up that late to a game and expect to win. And obviously, we showed up late to the game and we couldn't even get a tie. So San Diego FC suffers their first loss, and you have to call a spade a spade. We deserved that loss. I hope we learn from this loss because it just didn't look good. And I'm going to throw up some stats because I've been speaking about this for a little bit of time, not only in the preseason, but also throughout the regular season. One of my big worries about this team. But let's look at the stats. San Diego FC had 76% of the possession, but only 4 shots on goal. Austin FC had 5 shots on goal, but only 24% of possession. We're just not that good against a set defense. When a team has the strategy of parking a bus, we really only pass side to side. We don't really get that many great chances on goal. And the best chances usually that come on goal when a defense is set is either from a corner or like a set piece, or it's from like a shot outside the box. That's not going to be good enough to beat teams that have a really good defense, that have a strategy of parking the bus and then potentially countering, which is kind of exactly what Austin FC did. It reminds me of the St. Louis game. I was saying that all throughout the St. Louis game because, again, we dominated possession, but we tied that game. And we could have potentially lost because St. Louis went up early in that game. So what are we going to do in open play when teams park the bus? I would really love to hear what Mikey Vadas has to say on the lack of being able to break down a set defense and what we're going to do on the training ground to fix it. Are there going to be those double runs? Are we going to send someone deep from the midfield moving forward? I don't see that as much. Again, I see side-to-side passing and more straight, narrow runs, and that's just not going to work against set defenses. It's not. And I worry. I have been worrying about this because what if a coach, and I'm all about strategy. If I was another team, I would see the St. Louis game, I would see the Austin FC game and say, hey, I'm going to park the bus. They're not going to break us down. And guess what? I'm going to hit them on the counter because one of the weakest parts of our team is the defense, especially when you have players out. I've kind of said, I think our wings are, one of the weakest parts of our defense. And we went from Lawfulson and Negri to Willie and Bombino. So that just shows you that Mikey Vadas was already tinkering with the lineup, especially on our wingbacks. And it obviously showed. Not only did Columbus Crew really attack our wingbacks, but our wingbacks are in and out of the game. And now we have a problem in the middle of our defense, and we didn't have 2 of our main players. So we have to take this into account. Patty McNair was not there. Anibal Godoy was not there as well. They're huge in the middle of our defense. I think McNair and McVeigh as center backs are a great partnership. I think Zverkov and Godoy are a great partnership. So not having one of our main center backs and not having one of our main center defensive midfielders, you saw people just running through the middle. They were cutting us like we were some warm butter. It looked too easy. And again, Austin FC probably could have had 4 or 5 goals if they didn't miss point blank opportunities, if CJ Dos Santos doesn't make a great save on the near post. So that is worrisome. I think we should be getting McNair back. I think we should be getting Godoy back. So, that hopefully is not a problem, but we can't look like that again because it just looked too easy. My big questions, how do we bounce back? How do we change our tactics when it is necessary? We need more coaching for when, players are out. We had 4 players really out. Ingvardsson was injured. Chuki's obviously injured. Godoy and McNair were on international duty. We didn't change anything other than players. We didn't change our formation. We didn't change our tactics. That's where coaching comes in. Mikey Vadas has a huge coaching career, coaching up young players, and I think that's great for our team because we're really looking at the Right to Dream Academy. When it comes, I think, to professional coaching, it's way more than just having one style of play. I've spoken about Guardiola, and I've spoken about Ancelotti. They'll change their formations. They'll change their style of play depending on situations. And I think we need to look at that a little bit more. I would love to see Mikey Vadas change the tactics, knowing that, hey, no Godoy, and we have no McNair, we have Pilcher in, right? We had, Valacari more in. We had Alvarado more in there in our midfield. So, hey, we might not be as good defensively. Should we then not maybe take more of a defensive approach and not maybe so much attacking so we don't get hit on the counter so people can't run in behind? I would sometimes like to see a change in tactics based off who you're playing, based off who you have available on the team. We can't always just be aggressive and send people forward. Sometimes you do need to change it up, and I would love to see a little bit more changes, especially in a game like this where we have 4 of our starters not playing. We do have LAFC next, and this might be a good comeback game for us because LAFC also does want to control possession. They play with a little bit more open style of play, so that will allow for a little bit more space. That will allow for our style of play to shine. I think we do need to come out with some intensity because from the beginning of Austin FC, we didn't have intensity. We didn't have fervor. We didn't have a want to win. We did. I mean, if you rewatch the game or watch the game while it was going live, it didn't look like we really wanted to win. It really didn't look like we have intensity. It didn't look like we had belief. So we are going to need to be there to support our team. We need to come back from this loss because LAFC is coming to Snapdragon Stadium, and we need to show up. We need to show out for our team. So let's go San Diego FC. We're behind you, and I can't wait to see everyone there. Also, one last thing. I will be doing a giveaway. I'll be putting up the rules, the regulations. This is completely free. It has nothing to do with YouTube. There's no partnership. This is just completely free for all the people that actually do watch my channel. I'm not doing giveaways, hopefully with bots or anything like that. I want to give 2 free tickets to the San Diego Wave FC game. I'll also be doing one later down the line for San Diego FC. So stay tuned. That is coming this week during the preview shows, both for San Diego FC and San Diego Wave FC. So you can sign up for the free giveaway. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have been supporting my channel. It's been so fun to do this, and I can't wait for the next episode. Y'all have a good one. Let's go San Diego FC.